was actually on my way back from a mastermind where I was debating whether to join a $25,000 mastermind group, Joe Polish's Genius Network. And you know me, I love marketing podcasts, and I just popped one in on my way home from a mastermind. And lo and behold, this guy, Eelco De Boer, comes on, who happens to be part of the Genius Network. And what I can tell you is that he's one of the main reasons I actually ended up joining. He was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will. Very, very smart man, super into personal development, super into productivity, amazing head on his shoulders, and just an incredibly generous guy. I highly recommend you checking out his podcast as well. You can find out a lot about him there as well. But on today's podcast, or in the next two parts, we're going to talk about a lot of things. First, just so you know a little bit about Eelco, he'll tell you a bit of a story himself, but he spends over 100,000 euros. That's $150,000 a year between education and masterminds. So just to give you an idea of how committed this man is to that. We're going to talk about how to stop recreating the wheel, looking at untapped opportunities, and how to create work-life balance. And Eelco is going to share with you some incredible productivity tips and some morning routines that he goes through. So without further ado, let's jump into part one of my interview with Eelco De Boer. All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm really excited. And I have to say, this is one of the first times there's someone on here with a sexier voice. So don't get jealous. Ilan, don't get jealous.
It's just a voice.
Just a voice. I'm so excited to have Eelco. And this is kind of a running theme. This is what I've been doing. I've basically been stalking really, really high-level people recently, and stalking in a nice way. But I heard Eelco De Boer on the I Love Marketing podcast. And as soon as it ended, I was literally emailing him. I was like, let's connect. We'd love to have you on the podcast. He didn't respond. This is how stalkerish I was. I found another email address. I emailed again. He didn't respond. We'll explain why later. And I was like, God damn it. I was like, what other medium can I contact him? And I was like, Twitter. He'll probably be on Twitter. And yeah, we finally connected. So Eelco, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ilan.
It's awesome. So Eelco and I have chatted a few times offline already, or online, I guess, while he was traveling. But tell everyone a little bit about yourself, your background, what you currently do, and then we'll talk about some of the cooler stuff that you're up to.
Cool. So yeah, my name is Eelco. I'm an entrepreneur from Amsterdam. So I live in Amsterdam. I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years now. Started selling hip hop records in the early 2000s. So like the year 2000, I started selling hip hop records online through a web store. So in 2000, I got my first web shop, and then I started selling on eBay, and been doing that for like years. Sold tens of thousands of products on eBay, and then from there, like 10 years ago now, I started teaching other entrepreneurs how they could use the internet and use internet marketing techniques to grow their business. And during the last 10 years, we started an email marketing company where you can send newsletters. It was like non-existent in Holland, so we had to create it. In 2006, we created a payment service provider with an affiliate system, sort of like ClickBank, but not that big, but pretty cool. That was in 2006. In 2009, and then we started an e-commerce platform where you can create your own web shop. And we have like a web design company, and we coach entrepreneurs. I have some books, ebooks. We do training, coaching, all that stuff. So it's been an amazing journey the last 15 years. And the last 10 years was amazing stuff in the English language. And that's exciting for me as well. So that's a little bit about my business background. I'm a father. I have a daughter. She's 2.5 years old. My wife, she has a launch on September the 30th, so we're expecting a baby boy.
What a marketer! A launch.
So that's exactly. I'm in pre-launch mode right now, and I look forward to the post-launch mode as well.
Nice.
Yeah, man, I love traveling, love studying, love working with entrepreneurs. So actually, yeah, it's just cool. Yeah.
So Eelco, as you can tell, has a ton of experience. Obviously, been doing this for 15 years. And what I thought was really interesting when I heard you first speak is a lot of marketers or a lot of entrepreneurs are always trying to think of how to create the next wheel, how to create something completely new. And you're proving, because in the Netherlands, no one was doing what people were doing in the States, right?
Nope.
So tell people about that inspiration, because I think a lot of times people get stuck in not getting started because, well, everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
So how did you get past that? Because your business is basically built on bringing what's working here over to Netherlands.
Totally. So it's funny that you mentioned like everybody else is doing it and then not doing it. That was one of my insights like from last week, that it's crazy to me that not that many people are doing what we're doing, but also not that many people are doing what you are doing. Like, how many great marketing podcasts are out there? It's not hundreds,
Yeah.
It's and it's not tough to do. I mean, it's fun to do. We have a fun time, and so for me, I started selling those records on eBay and through web stores. And then in 2004, I did it for like 4 years, and I was crushing all my competitors all the time, always, but not like consciously. It was just like I was outselling them with simple strategies like email marketing. So like from 2000, everybody that became a customer, they got weekly emails. None of my competitors were doing it. It's not rocket science.
Yep.
And so in 2004, I got sick of the physical business because you have to buy and then sell and put it on eBay. That's really complicated. And then I found out about this forum, and it's called the Warrior Forum. You might know it.
Yep.
And I went crazy, man. I went crazy. I was reading like all these people that were making money without selling something physical, and I was like, I need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been studying for a year. Like, I bought a lot of courses, and which I could hardly afford. I remember I bought Traffic Secrets from John Rees, and I had to pay in 3 installments. I had to pay in 3 times $350 or something, and it was a big thing for me at that time. So for a year, I didn't do anything. I just was reading, and then I was like, well, I need to take the step to really sell information products, because that's the next big thing. And in the States, I was with Dean Jackson 2 weeks ago in Winter Haven, and he was selling from 1998 in the States. And in 2005, 7 years later, in Holland, there was 0 ebooks. There was nobody in Holland. Well, I'm lying. There was one guy in Holland and one guy in Belgium. They were selling 1 ebook. And then I came into the market with the 3rd ebook in whole Holland.
Amazing.
So my first ebook was about how to run a marathon, because I ran 2 marathons, and also an ebook on how to sell on eBay. So basically, I was sharing the story on how I crushed my competitors on eBay. And those 2 ebooks, they started running pretty well. And then I needed an affiliate system, because that was non-existent in Holland as well. Plus, I needed a system where you can automatically send them a download link after they paid, which was rocket science at that time. It was non-existent in Holland. And so basically, we just created it. So I created an email marketing system because it was non-existent. We created the payment system because it was non-existent. We created all these systems not because I was the strategic guru or whatever, but just simply because we needed it, and we opened it up for the other people. And then during those years, my sole task was basically educating Holland about internet marketing, so they could use those platforms, but also how they could use my coaching and my seminars and my books and stuff like that. So it was just, I needed that stuff, so I created it. And at that time, people weren't watching outside of Holland. They weren't checking out English gurus. They weren't checking out the English systems. We just really had to create it, which was it was a gift and a curse.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it's so funny because at that time, for example, the company we created, which is still running pretty well. It has 10 employees, and it runs. It's like 100 miles from here. But we created it in a couple of days. And now, if you want to create a company like that, it's like a big startup. It's software as a service. All these big words. But at that time, we just had a programmer like fix this thing, create it, and then from there we improved. and
it's
it's good.
amazing. We were talking a little bit while you were on vacation, and I was saying how brilliant of a strategy that really is, and how there's still untapped markets all over the world.
Big time.
I know South America is kind
Yeah.
of, people are starting to tap into. Mexico is a big company, so all these Spanish-speaking countries. But you and I were just talking about Russia, about
Russia,
absolutely untapped with
Yeah.
so much money,
Yeah.
so many people who are smart and gifted, and you don't necessarily need to think that far outside the box
Nope.
to become successful. And
Yeah.
Eelco, it just goes to show there's a couple different people. There's people that look out and go, you know what, that's really cool. It sucks that we don't have it.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that are like, it sucks that we don't have it. I'm going to go and build it.
Yeah. And it's like, and my blessing is that I'm not a technical guy. So I never in my whole life, I never created one website. And so my blessing was that I wasn't thinking in problems. I was just thinking in possibilities. I wasn't thinking in how, I was thinking in who, so, and it's the same letters, but it's a big difference. So for me, it was like, who do I know has technical skills? Oh, I know a guy. Well, let's start a company together. You create the system, I'll market it, whatever. And it's not complicated, but it's tough. It's not easy to do it, but it's not complicated either. And
now you mentioned,
if you talk about Russia, for example, any country outside of the US, because US is pretty crowded, obviously, but any country, that's my opinion, any country, if you have a great book and you have a great seminar, and you have a good blog and a good Facebook page, and you do some good videos and you do some launches, you're in business, and you can be in pretty good business.
Yeah.
I know guys from Slovenia. I know guys from Poland. I know guys from Romania. I know guys from France. They're crushing it big time, and they hardly have any competitors, and they just do the basic stuff, like just good stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's also competitive in different markets. So one of our clients, for example, is in the tennis niche. And what I find really funny is they do info products in the tennis world. But basically what they're doing is they're looking at what the internet marketer guys are doing, and they find what worked about a year ago. So they're constantly a year behind what internet marketers are doing, because that Chinese syndrome in internet marketing fades like this. But for them, when webinars were kind of dying here in that market, it was crushing it. And they just keep looking like, what is the next thing that everyone's doing? They do it, and it just works in that niche. So the less competitive also.
The same with webinars, for example. In Holland, nobody's doing webinars.
Yeah. That's what you're doing now, right?
That's what we do. It's not complicated. It's just a system. We work on it, and we do the webinars, and they're working. And my students as well, they're doing webinars, they're working, and it's not crowded. You got like 2 or 3 competitors who are doing some webinars once in a while. It's like that's the worst case scenario.
Amazing. I want to just bring it back to something you said earlier. You said that on Warrior Forum, which, by the way, for those that don't know, Warrior Forum, it's still in existence. It's basically a marketplace for people to come out with info products in all sorts of niches. There's a ton of marketing information there. A lot of it is, I will say personally, I think very, very hypey today. Very salesy, whatever. You could still find some gems in there. A lot of people will go and test products on Warrior Forum to list build, and then kind of use the list building. It's like free list building because the products are cheap, and then they have all these back end stuff. But if you haven't checked it out, it's at least worth a look. And if you're a marketer, you could definitely pick up some interesting copywriting things that people are up to. But you mentioned John Reese and buying that program and kind of overextending, which I know you're a huge proponent of learning from masters. Can you just share, like, what we'll talk about you now, but back then, where it was scary, right? The payment plan, all that stuff. What kind of had you mentally go through that to, I don't want to say comfortable, that's the wrong word, but to put yourself out there and actually do it. Because for a lot of people, parting with money for working with the right person is very, very scary. And yet you and I both know that's the game changer.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I remember that it was exciting. It was scary to me to transfer $1,000, man. It's like, that was a lot of money at that time. And I never, it wasn't my world to invest in myself, it was non-existent. But during that time, when I checked out the Warrior Forum, I also started reading books. So I started reading books. And my first book was How to Get Rich from Donald Trump. And then, Think and Grow Rich, which I didn't understand. Like the first time I read it, I was like, what's this about, So it's, I don't know. I think it was baby steps. And then it was, for me at that time, a huge step. I mean, now every year it's over 100,000 euros that I invest in myself, just with seminars and trips and stuff like that. But at that time, it was huge. So basically it was just a leap of faith. And I remember I bought it. And then after I bought it, I asked my wife, like, are you okay with me spending $1,000? And she was like, yeah, if you think it's gonna be worth it. I was like, okay, I'm glad you're okay with it because I just spent $1,000.
Yeah, I'm glad I asked.
Yeah. And, but I remember I bought it, and then I had to wait for like 2 weeks, and I was excited, and I got the box, and then it was the recordings of a 3-day event. So basically, what I did, I just locked my door, and for 3 days I was in bed watching all the videos of him presenting the traffic secrets, and one of my because it was a great course. But one of my insights at that time, maybe the biggest insight from watching the course, like, you just got to get into action, because also the stuff that he was teaching, it wasn't that complicated. It was, it wasn't that complicated. So I was like, well, it's no rocket science. It's good stuff, but it's no rocket science. The only way to go is just bold action. So I remember 2004, reading, studying. I was frustrated like crazy. And then at the beginning of 2005, my commitment was, okay, this year is going to be about action, and implement what I learned. And that year was the first year I found the balance between learning and implementing. And that was the year that everything changed for me.
So talk about that a little bit, because I think that's something that a lot of people miss. When you say balance, what does balance between learning and implementing look like? Because you just said you spend 100,000 euros a year on education and self-improvement and all that stuff. So how do you maintain that balance between just becoming an info junkie and actually implementing?
Yeah. It's, how do you find the balance? It's for me, I'm really structured with my weeks, with my days. I'm like, time is one of my most precious assets, and I really take my productivity and my time really seriously. And so I just block time to learn, to study. For example, I go to an event, or I go to my mastermind, or I go to wherever to learn. And then I really block time to be productive, to create videos. Like, this is, I block this time, today, this is not a coincidence that we're talking now, so it's all blocked on a certain day that I do meetings, for example, but tomorrow I have an off day. And so for me, being productive is really, really important. And I feel bad whenever I'm not productive. And I think the balance, I don't have like a balance between knowledge and implementation. It's also a gut feeling. I get frustrated when I'm not implementing enough. I also get frustrated when I'm only implementing. So it's a gut feeling. I know whenever I overlearn or overstudy. I also know when I'm working too much, and and I'm not always balanced, but at least I know. So, for example, we traveled for a month last month, and before we went to the trip, before we did the trip, I felt in my body and in my gut like, okay, I'm working too much right now. Then we went on a trip, and then I remember when we were talking, I was in Curacao. I was like, oh, thank you for talking to me, because I need some input, I need some. So I was out of balance over there. Like, okay, I'm not implementing anything. I'm just chilling, And now I'm getting back into balance, like studying, learning, and implementing. And the thing is, embrace whatever phase you're in. So I embrace whenever I'm overworking. I know, okay, right now I'm in the flow. I'm working my ass off, but I'm cool with it. But eventually I want to go back to my balance. Then I went on a trip for a month. I knew I was out of balance because I was chilling too much. I was getting I had to scratch the itch, my creativity itch. And now, I'm back in Holland. I'm finding the balance again. So, yeah.
So talk a little bit about your schedule. I'm just curious. What's your week look like? How are you blocking out times? I know people are always looking for productivity tips.
Yeah. So my core is not a structured guy. So I know for myself, I'm a creative guy. I got a lot of ideas. Every day I feel different. So it's not that every day I feel the same. I know a lot of people feel kind of the same every day. Every day I feel different. Like last night, short night, was pissed off this morning when I went to the gym. Went to the gym, felt great. But yesterday I had a great day. So every day is different. So if I have a clean schedule with nothing, it all depends on how I feel, which is not a good thing. So for me, I'm not a structured person in my core, so I have to structure my weeks. So for me, one of the most important things is how I schedule my days. So I have my morning, afternoon, evening. Morning till 11 in the morning, I have 0 appointments, 0 meetings, nothing, like literally nothing. From 11 to 12:30, I am in the gym. So I have a trainer, I go to the gym. And from 12:30, for example, for today, from 12:30 to 6 is meetings. And that's one day. Tomorrow, same thing. Every morning for me is the same. Till 11 in the morning, nothing, then gym. And then I start my afternoon. And tomorrow, my afternoon is nothing, like 0, blank. Like I'll see what I'll do. My wife it's her birthday tomorrow, so we'll have some fun and stuff. But my mornings are always exactly the same. As in my schedule, but they are not always the same because, I could work on a new project. So the mornings are always the same scheduled. And then the evenings I try to be with my family. But not every evening because, I have another life as well. I have friends and stuff. So tonight, for example, we go to Entourage, so I'll have dinner in an hour. I have dinner with friends and then we go to the movie Entourage, which I've been waiting for years. I don't know if you check out the movie, but so it's mornings are for me. Afternoons are like 2 or 3 times a week, just meetings with customers, with employees, with team members, and I try to have 2 blank afternoons as well, just to think and to do whatever. And then the evenings are for my family and for myself or with friends.
Beautiful.
And I've been working on this for years, and this is when I function best.
And in the mornings, in that morning slot up until 11, are you actually working? Are you meditating? Are you learning? Does it switch? What are you doing then?
Well, actually all of that. So I'm working, I'm meditating, I'm learning, and it does switch. So it's it kind of depends on, and I try to get my morning ritual in, like waking up and then bam, bam, bam. But it's, with my daughter, it's like, as I said, every day I feel different. So some mornings I wake up and I'm like, I want to go to my daughter. I'm not going to meditate for like 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Some mornings I wake up, I really need to meditate. So I don't really have a fixed morning schedule. The only thing that's really fixed is that I have nothing on my schedule till 11. But it's one thing I will be working on the next couple of months to really get a good morning ritual in.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually just started one this past week, which has been really, really great for me because my kids are finally both scheduled. We got them these alarm clocks that turn green at a certain time, so they can't call us until it turns green.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like the simplest, most amazing thing.
Game changer,
right? And so my son, he's 3, he's almost 4, so he's kind of been doing it for a while. My daughter is a little under 2.5. So for her, like the last few months, she's kind of saw it as a toy, but she still like called for us earlier. But now that's it. It's regimented. So 7:30 is when they're allowed to call us. Till then, even if they wake up, they're quiet in bed. They'll just play. It's amazing. Wow. Yeah.
And a 2.5-year-old gets it.
Gets it. Oh man. It took her a little bit longer. He was older though. He was probably 3 when we gave it to him. Within 3 days, it was a done deal. Yep. We brought it to her room probably when she was like 2 years and 2 months, 2 years and 3 months, something like that. It probably took her like a month and a half, but now it's done. She gets it.
Wow.
And my
And
mom,
do you incrementally like increase like,
yes,
wow, really?
yes. So we started at 7 because that's when they were actually waking up. And then I was like, well, let's try 7:15, and we did that. And we're like, let's try 7:30, and we did that. So
That's
7:30 is now the set time. It's amazing, and it's small enough where we can take it on trips or vacations, or if we're at someone's house or something like that. And their brain is like, I can't communicate till the light turns green, which is amazing.
wow. So in a couple of months, you'll be waking up at 11.
Exactly. Like, keep sleeping.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I did was I set my alarm now for 6:50. I haven't woken up with an alarm for the last probably like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, me neither.
But I love to sleep. And I started working with this doctor who's a functional medicine doctor, and we're kind of like working on sleep patterns and fitness and all this kind of stuff. So he was telling me in the morning, one of the first things you want to do is you want to ground yourself, which is once you've been horizontal for a while, you want to get your feet onto grass, outside, preferably shirt off. So like you're getting vitamin D also. And so I've been waking up at 6:50. I go down, I make myself a cup of yerba mate and go outside, meditate, feet on
outside.
ground. I've been doing it for a week. First day, this is how crazy it was. First day, I walk into the house right when my daughter is waking up or calling for us. And I walk in the room, my wife walks in the room, and she gravitates to my wife a lot. And my wife went to pick her up. She's like, no, I want Abba, which is dad in Hebrew. And like, I grabbed her and she just jumped on me and hugged me. Almost like, you shift your energy when you meditate. Yeah. And I walked into the house with this very relaxed, peaceful, loving kind of space, as opposed to them jumping on the bed and me being like,
yeah. And children feel it.
It's very nice. It's been
They're great mirrors.
Now, I want to get into some of the other stuff because you're also really, really incredible at keeping your space, keeping your productivity up. So tell people some of the tricks that you do. I know you have one with Facebook that's just incredible, but you also have some others. So just share with people some of the things that you do to make sure that your time is your time and not being wasted.
Yeah, so for me, I'm a big opponent of outsourcing your discipline or using tricks so you don't need any discipline. And for me, I know that if I would have access, for example, to Facebook, I would be on Facebook. And but also, if I have access to the internet, I will be on the internet. So one of my tricks, and I've been doing this for years now, for like almost 6 years now, is I call it internet fasting. So basically what I just do is I switch off the internet and I work offline for a long time. And I've been doing this for a while, and my best days are when I'm online for just 1 hour. So online on my laptop, but also on my phone, for example. I just switch off the Wi-Fi, switch off the internet, and I'm offline, and it's such a huge difference. The difference between being connected and being disconnected. And whenever I'm disconnected from the internet, I'm so much more connected with myself, with my family, with my friends, with my customers, but also with my writing, with everything. And or I don't need any discipline to not be on the internet or not browsing, because the internet is just switched off. And I have clear thinking, much more creative. I'm literally 10 times more. I can write like the best marketing material ever, like marketing material that's like pulling in so much money because it's brilliant. And I could never create that marketing material when I was connected on the internet, because you get distracted and you won't be really clear. You don't have any clear thinking.
So do you focus on those times when you're internet fasting? Are you focusing on things like copywriting or reading or things? Yeah. You structure it in a way that's what you're working on when you're offline, yes?
Yeah. So during my busy days, so for example, today was a busy day. I had meetings. I just have the internet on because I'm busy anyway. But tomorrow, for example, I have an off day. I have nothing on my schedule, so I switch off the internet, and I won't be interrupted, but I won't interrupt myself either because I won't be on the internet. So, and then yes, during my off internet hours, I'm planning, I'm creating marketing material, I'm writing my new book, I'm reading, I'm recording podcasts, I'm strategizing, I'm connected with my daughter, with my wife, or with my friends, or whatever. So basically, it's just being on the plane for like 12 hours. But just the plane it's not the plane. It's just, I call it my man cave. I have a separate little house in our garden. I'm there and I'm a monster when it comes to productivity because I get so much stuff done because there's no internet. And so that's number one, internet fasting. If you want to be productive, you can read all the books. You can read, like, I can name all the books, but it's all about rituals or about to-do lists or whatever. And every day you need to work on it, and it's tough. For an entrepreneur, it's like you have a new morning ritual right now. The average entrepreneur, they're horrible with doing a daily task for a longer period of time because we're creative. We feel different every day. And for us, it's really tough. But to just switch it off, that's like, for me, it's one of the best things ever. So that's one thing. The second thing is Facebook. For me, it's impossible to get on Facebook. I don't have my password to my Facebook. My team, two of my team members, they have the password to my Facebook account because it's such a time waster, but also an energy waster. When I am on Facebook, because I'm a sensitive guy, I feel in my body that my energy is draining. It's leaking energy because you get all the news, not just news from the news, but also like opinions and things that I don't want to see or don't want to feel or whatever. And so I'm on Facebook for maybe once every 2 months. So before we went on a trip, I was on Facebook. When I got back from the trip, I was on Facebook for like an hour, and then I really felt like, I gotta get away from this place because this is not a cool place. And for me, I take it really seriously. Like every minute. So, for example, you're browsing the timeline on Facebook for 1 hour and 23 minutes. First of all, it's leaking energy. Second of all, you just took 1 hour and 23 minutes away from things that are more important to you.
Yeah.
And I always ask because I work with the entrepreneurs, I ask them, what's most important to you? Like literally, what's most important to you? And they will never say Facebook. They will never say checking emails, and they will never say work. They will always say my wife, my children, my legacy, whatever. But if you look at their actions, what's most important for them, they're checking Facebook or they're checking their email or whatever. And so it's bad, man. I heard from one of our students that he was on Facebook all the time. Like he was like the Facebook guru or whatever. And he was always making fun on Facebook, and like he really got Facebook. He lost his family due to Facebook. He lost his wife and his children due to Facebook because he was just connected with Facebook all the time. And so he removed his whole Facebook because it literally cost him his life, like the things that are most important to him. But he didn't realize, people the days, they're moving so fast because we're so connected. And eventually what's really important for us, we just take this much time. And it's my belief that we should take this much time for that stuff and take this much time for like business and all that stuff.
All right. So we're going to put a pause button there on part 1. And I know, guys, that some of this might sound extreme to some of you, but the real takeaway is what it takes to remove the wiggle room, what it takes for you to take willpower and thought process and all of it out of the equation and just have a routine in place, or systems in place, I should say, that allow you to be this productive. And you'd probably heard me say it, that Eelco took some certain things to the extreme, but it works for him, right? Now, when you put those things in place, it is meant to be extreme. It's like the example that I shared. if you had a key to unlock your pantry and someone in your household had to have that key and you had to go to them and ask them, you'd be much less likely to eat junk food, right? But because we don't create our lives that way, then we have these outs. And so I want you to pull away from this, not the extreme, but I want you to pull away. What could you put in place that would be that level of accountability for you, so that you take out the emotion, that you take out the I feel like, that you take out the I don't feel like, and you just have systems in place to make it happen. So I hope you really enjoyed this part one with Eelco, and we'll see you on the next Performance Enhancing Podcast.